Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is a KV-220-2. It's a Tier 5 Soviet premium heavy tank. It's located on the defending team of Karelia Assault, and it's under the command of graldebarantauro of the FYD clan. Game on. Well, it's a very heavy tank, this one. Actually, it was very heavy. It was much heavier than the standard KV because it had extra armor on it. Back in 1940, they started a project to upgrade the KV-1 and put extra armor on it to make it even tougher for the Germans to knock out. And they did this by taking a standard KV-1 and adding extra armor to it. Specifically, they added 10 millimeters, well, 15 millimeters actually, to bring it up to 90 for the T150, and the second tank that they devised was the KV-220-2, and oh, that Cromwell, yes, managed to get himself killed fairly easily there, because he ran himself aground and then got completely shot up. Now, the KV-220-2, as it became known, was originally only on the RU server, would you believe it? So you could only get it on there, but eventually, they actually moved it over to the other servers. There was only one prototype made in 1941, but it was believed it was thoroughly tested. And eventually, they actually were going to build the KV-3 based on the KV testing, but it never came to be. In fact, they actually started building the IS line instead. Now, the version you're seeing at the moment has got the 76mm F32 gun, which is capable of 110 alpha, 99mm pen, and a fairly slow shell velocity. It's a standard KV gun. So basically what we've got is a Tier 7 hull, because that's the KV-3 is a Tier 7. Tier 7 hull with a Tier 5 turret. Yes, so the turret's very weak and can be penetrated fairly easily. The armor around the turret is only 90mm at the front, 75 at the sides and rear. But the hull, we've just been hit by an M8A1 with a standard armor-piercing round, and you can see it just can't get through. It is completely impervious to that Tier 4 tank. It's a Tier 6 game with Tier 4 tanks in it. So a lot of those Tier 4s out there are going to find it very difficult indeed to bring down this monster. In fact, that's what normally happened in battle. Whenever you saw a KV-222, it would actually romp through the battlefield and kill all the lower tier tanks and most of the same tier tanks. Now you can see in this battle we've got an FB304 who's blasting away at the enemy quite happily here, and he's ruining the enemy tanks on the south side of the map. Yes, because we're at the north end at the moment. Very few enemy tanks have actually come along the north route, which is very surprising, because normally a lot of tanks would actually come from spawn point 3 and make their way up to the north and along the edge. But so far, we've seen only the Cromwell on the north side. In the meantime, this FB304 is blasting away at the enemy, and we've also got another Arty, an M41 HMC. Now, what can I tell you about the KV-3? Well, KV-222 rather, I should say. Well, as I said, it did have extra armor at the front and at the rear, and basically all around. 120mm at the front. The standard KV-1 is only 75mm, and 100 at the sides and the rear. So it's hugely up-armored over a standard KV. And in order to make it move about, they had to upper armor the engine as well. Not upper armor it. They actually increased the power dramatically. A standard KV-1 has only got 528 horsepower. The T150 got 740 horsepower, and the KV-222 came out at a whopping 898 horsepower. So it did have the power for it to keep moving about. But you're noticing here, the gun handling's not so great. But it does have, it is really, really good at pumping up those rounds. Track the Churchill 3 is the closest to our cap so far. It's very sluggish. That's one of the words you can actually describe it. The turret's weak, it's sluggish, it's got bad accuracy and low pen, and bad signal and view range as well. He's getting hits on that KV-1 because, yeah, he's stationary at the moment. Can't see him, but he's definitely there. So the enemy has actually tried to assault the cap from the south, and they've kind of stopped where the Churchill is. Mind you, there are 5 tanks up on our team at the moment. Yep. We've only managed to kill 4 of them, but they've killed 9 of us. So we are in danger. This is an assault game, so it's to kill all of the team or capture the cap within 10 minutes. M8A1 appears again. That's the same one who kept firing at us. Well, that shell went nowhere. I've no idea where that shell went, but he has been spotted again. And I'm not sure if it's the M8A1. Oh, now this is interesting. That's the Nashorn. Basically, that could be an 88mm gun loaded on top of a Hummel chassis. And yeah, we don't really want to get hit by him because he would penetrate our armor. That shell hit the rock, and he pulls back just as he was a one-shot. We've also got another enemy tank making their way up the east side of the map at the moment, apart from that Nashorn. He's been spotted, but we can't see him. Still trying to get the Nashorn. You get plenty of ammo with the F-32 gun. 140 rounds. So you've got more than enough to blast away and keep blasting until the enemy gets hit. But we're not paying much attention to what's going on with the Churchill and the KV-1 at the moment. They're the closest to the cap. Oh, well, it was a Stug, and it's now been Stugged. It's out of the game. So, oh, but we've just lost our T-67 to their T1 Heavy. So that means that there is a T1 Heavy somewhere on behind us, or somewhere, yes, over on the east side of the map. And we've suddenly noticed the Churchill 1, and he's firing a 57mm or a 6-pounder gun in our direction. In fact, it was a 57mm because I believe the the Soviets actually changed the gun on the Churchill 3 from the British. Oh, well, that hit the tracks. They changed the gun when they received the Churchill 3s. Oh, here comes that KV-1. Now, he doesn't have as much armor as we do, and our shells should be able to penetrate his whole armor. So he's in a bad state now because he's come up against somebody who's much stronger. We bounced one of his rounds. We bounced the second one now. And whilst the enemy Arty is having a go, oh, how cute. The M8A1s decided to shoot HE at us. Well, yes. I think he's only got the 3-inch gun, the 3-inch howitzer, which is very, very... Oh, he's got a fire. He's on fire. And... come on, put another shell into him. Oh, he set light to him again. Oh, little MHA1 goes down. But the KV-1 went down as well. I don't know if you saw that because we were being shot in the rear at the time by the MHA1. And we just lost our last teammate in the FB304. He got taken up by the T1 Heavy over there in the distance. Now, I don't know if he can see us now because obviously we've gone unspotted. It's so far away. One of the good things about this tank is it does have a reasonably high hit point pool for its size and its tier. 900 hit points is quite a lot at tier 5. It has reasonable gun depression as well. That's the last minute. It's 8 degrees of gun depression, so you've got more than enough for most ridge lines. just have to remember you aim at the turrets of other KV-220-2s because that's the weak spot. That weak KV turret. Well, he's trying to avoid any contact with the enemy at the moment because we've got 32 seconds left and he'll get a Kolobanov if he's still alive at the end of that 32 seconds. Well, it's down to 23 now. He just doesn't want any of the enemy to find him. Well, one of the enemy has gone into the cap. We don't know who. And, oh my God, there's an enemy behind him. And it's the Digamax and he hit us in the track. Well, that's not going to do any damage to us. The Arty tries and fails. We go for a reset and the game is over. We've won. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was a third-class tanker for graldebarantauro in the KV-220-2. He managed to get a third-class tanker in this game, as well as a fire pro effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. He got an arsonist badge. He set light to that little M8A1 twice. He set light to him. He managed to put the fire out from the first fire, but unfortunately he set light to him again, and he burned up this time because he couldn't put it out. And he also got a shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9, and he got a hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from at least 4 different enemy tanks or more. On top of that, he got the medal everyone would like to get, the Kolobanov's medal for surviving against 5 enemy vehicles. And there were 5 enemy vehicles still alive right at the end of the game. He didn't kill them all, but he stayed alive long enough to run out the clock. And in an assault game, if the enemy hasn't captured the cap or killed all of the enemy team, that's where you win. He also got a steel wall for blocking more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, blocking the most damage in the game, at least 11 hits, and I'm sure he took a lot more than that. His win rate was 3,072, which is Super Unicum standard. Let's have a look at team score. Well, we can see the highest damage in the game turned out to be that Digamax, the guy at the end, when he does have a 105mm gun, which is fairly accurate and does a lot of damage. He got 1,988 hit points of damage, picked up the high caliber. Second highest damage went to the G2 on our team, who got 1,296. And the third highest damage, yes, that went to graldebarantauro, who managed 1,213 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, we can see the high scorer was the FB304 on our team. Unfortunately, he didn't survive the game. The T1 Heavy on the enemy team got 3 kills, so did the KV-1. And 2 kills went to the G2, to graldebarantauro, and also to the Digamax and the FB304 on their team. And when it came to base XP, yep, he got that one too, because he got 817 base experience points, whereas the next place man was the Churchill 3 on the enemy team with 808, and the third place goes to the G2 on his own team with 640. So it just goes to show you don't need to get the highest damage in the game in order to get the win in a battle, and certainly that happened on this occasion. We should mention as well that the Digamax got the high caliber, but the Churchill 3 got a patrol duty, so that's a heavy tank acting as a spotter for his team. So very well done to him. He fired 41 rounds of ammo. You certainly get a lot of ammo capacity. You've got 145 rounds in this KV-220. It's a lot of capacity, but it is only 76mm rounds. They're not the big heavy rounds that you might find on the T150 or one of the other tanks. But yes, 41 only fired. 18 direct hits on the enemy, 9 penetration. His gun handling wasn't so great, I'm afraid. He was having a bit of difficulty with that, but a lot of the targets he was trying to shoot at were long range. They were more than 300 meters. 2 splash, and those are the guys who were firing HE at him in the end. That was the M8A1. But I understand why he was firing HE now, because of course he was using the 3-inch howitzer, which is a 76mm gun, but it really doesn't have that much pen, which is why the poor little M8A1 was having a great deal of difficulty trying to get through the armor. 1,213 hit points of damage, of which 446 was at more than 300 meters. So about half, well, not about half, about a third of his damage was done at long range. 20 hits received from the enemy, 6 of them penned, 10 non-penetrations, and 4 hits by way of splash damage. 1,320 hit points of damage blocked by armor, 6 enemy vehicles damaged, 2 killed, and he did 92 hit points of damage assistance, and he got 21 defense points when he reset the cap right at the end of the game. On a free-to-play account, he actually made a loss of 711 credits from this game. I don't think he'd be worried about that for getting a Kolobanos medal. He also picked up 1,852 experience points out of that game as well. He not only got the bonus for this being a premium vehicle, but he actually got a mission completion bonus of 1,253 XP off this one as well. So he did particularly well. And I would be happy with a game like this as well, because he stayed alive for more than long enough to actually qualify as this is a Kolobanov. I know we've seen some people who just qualify for the Kolobanov merely because they're the last one standing after a game, and there's only a few seconds where they're outnumbered by the enemy 5-1, but then it clicks over and they've won the game simply because it was a assault game and they're still alive. But in this one, he had to take on 5 enemy vehicles, 3 of which were close to the cap area, and he did stay alive long enough to actually make it count. If that Dickomax had managed to get another couple of rounds into him, that could have been a different story, because he might have been able to take him out with at least 2 rounds. In fact, I think he would have taken him out with 2 rounds, but he ducked one of them because he got behind that wreck very quickly and avoided any further damage. So good game there by graldebarantauro. Congratulations on getting Kolobanov. I've only had one myself so far, and it was at tier 2, which is very surprising, of course, but well done anyone getting a Kolobanovs when you stand alone against that many enemies. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.